Good afternoon and welcome to a very exciting day at Spot Business Systems, the launch of Connect. My name is Spencer Kilpack with the Spot implementation team. Today I am joined by a number of members of our staff. We have Torin Brown, our Vice President of Product, Wash Respis, our Product Manager, and Tammy Miller and Nicole Kirby from the Spot Customer Success team. Today's presentation is going to be a little bit different. We will be addressing questions. We'll give you an avenue for those questions, any questions that you have at the end of the webinar. Given the size of this webinar and the scale of what we're trying to do today, we just will not have the resources to answer your questions during the webinar. But please be assured that we will be putting together a frequently asked questions and that the webinar itself will also be posted to our YouTube page, likely by the end of the day. Having said that, we'll go ahead and jump right in today. I will turn the time over to Torin Brown. It's all yours, Torin.
Thanks, Spencer. Welcome, everybody. As Spencer mentioned, it's an exciting time at Spot. By Explore. Today is liftoff for Connect. So let's talk about where we are today. We have been busy over the last several months designing, developing, and tuning Connect. We've had the benefit of working with over 20 different companies that have been helping us with beta testing. They've been offering feedback to identify issues, ways to make the experience and the application better, and just offering valuable feedback to us on a daily basis. And the most exciting part of that feedback is the unanimous response that we get from everybody that Connect is just much easier to use and much more intuitive, which speaks to, I think, the vision that we've had from the very beginning and the three primary goals that we focused on for this project: simplicity, power for your business, and the ability to work with Spot. Said simply, we wanted Connect to be easy to use, we wanted it to be easy to understand, and we wanted it to be easy to train on. We also wanted an application that would provide you with the power and sophistication that you need to run your business better. And third, and probably most importantly, the new application had to work side by side with Spot. We understand how critical Spot is to the day in and day out smooth operation of your business, and we aren't going to interrupt that. And we want you and your staff to be able to start using Connect at your pace, so that everyone in your organization feels comfortable and that the process is smooth. So let's take a look at how things get started in Connect. This is the login screen. This will be shown when you first activate Connect, and this is where you basically put in your company credentials and go through a process of identifying the workstation. Once you've done that, you'll never see the screen again. When you load up Connect, you will enter, just like you do in Spot, enter your PIN. But one of the big differences, one of the new differences that we're excited about is that you'll notice that there's a What's New screen when you come in. This is important because we're updating the application almost every week. And so we've added this directly in the application to help identify the changes and the enhancements that are available. So Wash is going to go ahead and take us directly into Connect. We'll actually be in the application itself here. And we're going to use this to really demo how this works. But one of the things you're going to see also on this screen over to the right is a feedback button. And again, the input is really important to us. And so when you click on it, you can just come in here and add your comments, whatever it might be. And most importantly, there's something you want us to show us, something you want us to focus on. You can also take a screenshot of specific elements or the entire screen and record it. And this comes just directly back into our development team for us to go in and take a look at the app. So again, just really trying to make everything about this simple to use. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tammy, who's going to start the process of walking us through how this gets used.
Thanks, Torrin. Welcome, everybody. So first thing we do in the morning when we come in and we launch our computer, we have to clock in. So we're going to start with the time clock, which is up in the top right-hand corner. And Wash is going to drive and enter his PIN number. You'll notice that this screen looks a lot different than what it does in Spot. One of the neat features that we have here is that you have the ability to choose a job type with if you have labor categories, those will be presented to you. But there is the clock in button. So Wash, why don't you go ahead and just select what you're clocking into and then go back in for me so that we can see the ability to change the job function. So notice that the counter is grayed. So that means that Wash was currently clocked into the counter. So he's going to change his job type to route driver. And so makes it much simpler than what you would currently have to do to be able to change your job type. Notice also all the clock in and clock out information that's displayed, and there are arrows at the top of the screen where you can move between pay periods. So if you want to go backwards or forwards, you can use those arrows. And there's also the little calendar icon at the top that you can, specifically zone into a specific week if it's faster to go back to that. So intuitive information here, easy enough to see, when you're clocked in and you're clocked out. And like Spot, if you're clocked in, you won't be presented with a clock in button. You'll only have a clock out button and vice versa. All right, next we want to talk about cash drawer, which is located in the System tab. And we currently have a drawer checked in, but the check-in, check-out process looks essentially the same. And what's new about this, though, what's really great is the feature for adding the rolls of coins that you have. You have the ability for Spot to do the calculation. I remember at my old company, we always had issues when people would check the drawer out or in where they didn't know how many nickels were in a roll or how many quarters were in a roll. So this is going to increase the accuracy of the ability to make sure that when they're checking in and out the drawer that they're not putting in the wrong numbers. So really neat feature that we've added to Connect that doesn't exist in Spot. We do have the tabs across the top too for the credit cards, the checks, and other payments that you can see if those are there. But just the simple checkout process, we're going to leave this drawer checked in because we need to have it, so that we can start doing other things and Connect. So let's talk about search. This is a whole different outlook from the Spot to Connect perspective. In Spot, we currently have to think about what action do we want to take before we choose our customer. So how many times have you clicked on quick ticket or quick and you meant to click on details? So you're having to cancel out and change the function. With this, we're starting with search. Everything starts with search. So in the search bar at you can enter a customer's name, a phone number, an email, and the predictive lookup will list, options of who the customer could be. You can search the first name, the last name, all of those different things will present a list. And the more information that you type in, obviously, the more concise the list will get. Notice on the right-hand side of the screen, as Wash is searching for different customers, the buttons change that are available. So in this particular scenario, this customer, Mickey Mouse, has orders to pick up. He has 2 orders in process, which is what that yellow button is at the top, and the pickup button is lit up. If the customer did not have any available orders for pickup, that would be grayed out like it is in this other customer, Minnie Mouse. So being able to determine what you want to do by just starting with the customer is a great departure. Now, notice that Wash has a lot more buttons up there under his name. He's a VIP customer. He's also on a route called Test, and it's showing his stop number. You can also see where his name is highlighted, that the test route is listed there as well. But the green box indicates he has 2 orders ready for pickup. he has 125 orders that are in process and 124 orders that are overdue. And so, or past their promise date. So this is, you know, a great way of, at a glance, you know, seeing what that customer has and knowing whether or not, you know, all the orders are ready for them. You can also search additionally by order type, or I should say by order number and by item. So you could search a specific order here, scanning or typing it in.
And for those of you who heard that, Wash actually has a scanner attached to his device that he's using to scan, just like you would in Spot.
You can also drop that menu down and change it to item and scan a heat seal, or type in a type of item as well. And you'll notice that he scanned that heat seal, and that's showing all the invoices that that heat seal was used on. But most often you're going to start with the search. But what if the customer doesn't exist? We have the add customer function, which is the little button with the plus customer, and you can start typing that customer information, and when you hit the button, notice that it's already populated the last name.
And I'm gonna interrupt for just a second. You'll notice that this is a departure from Spot, where we don't show everything that has to be filled out or that you can ask the customer, but rather just the information you need in order to get the customer into the system, while still respecting all of the required fields that you have set up in Spot already. So you'll notice those asterisks over there on the left, identifying those. Again, this is pulling information from your existing Spot database and requiring the same logic, the same fields that you normally have. Sorry, Danny.
Sure. Notice that we have two methods of adding an address here. We have the manual button, which is just adding, just like you would in Spot, typing in a manual address. But we also have the find address, which is a predictive lookup, much like when you're searching an address on Google, where it actually will present you with a list of available addresses with the more information that you type in. It does require in Spot for your location settings to have your state populated, but this is going to be great because, you know, we're going to have less misspelled addresses. Things are going to be more correct by using this predictive lookup. So we do encourage customers to utilize this method. Notice that because email is a required field, and as well as address, we do have the ability to toggle to refuse those if a customer would choose to not give us that information. But we would certainly hope that we can get emails for most customers. We have the referral source. And then the last thing we have on this screen is the preferences. So you can update any customer preferences, which is important for when you begin the detail process to have those preferences. So like Torrin said, the basic information to get the customer started. And then we can move on to quicking and detailing. And then Nicole will talk a little bit later about editing different things in the customer profile. So I'm going to turn it over to Wash, who's going to start us out with the quick process.
Okay, so I've already selected my customer, and this time I'm going to detail something for Clark Kent. I'm sorry, not detail. I'm going to quick something first, not detail. So I'm going to create a quick for Clark. Clark just came in. We're going to create a quick. If he had any auto coupons, they would be showing here. If there were any adjustments for this customer, automatically they would show here. If I needed to make any adjustments for this customer, I can do this. You can have your pre-populated adjustments or manual adjustments if you have the permission to do that. I'm going to add a $15 special delivery fee for this customer. Next thing you will see is the destination and the departments. So with that, if I hadn't placed an adjustment on here, all you would do would hit the department that you're doing, whether In my case, I only show, I use what we call a generic quick. I just show items, households, alterations, or these specialty items because I want to track those differently on my quick. But for me, I just want to say, how many items do I have? Due date is populated based on your promise date schedule. So right now I've made one click, and then I'm choosing the number of items, and I'm ready to go, and I can hit finish. And then it's going to ask you for the receipt, how the customer wants the receipt. Let's say the customer said I wanted an email. Well, we have an email address, so we will use this email address and send them an email. Let's say, no, they want it texted. Well, the phone number we have for this customer is not mobile. The system knows that. But if they give us a mobile number here, it will actually save to the customer's account, and we won't have to ask for a mobile number again from this customer. And if they don't want a receipt, obviously we choose no receipt. And the quick has already been made. I'm going to actually jump back into quick again to show you a couple of other things that I think are really cool and really set this app apart from what we had done in Spot for so many years. If you see up here this little drop down, it shows us a tutorial. So to proceed through the tutorial, it's going to give the user some feedback. And so this is where we're saying we really want to make it easy for our customers so that they can just simply follow a few instructions and learn how to utilize the application. On here, it's just asking us to practice by leaving a comment. I can use a predefined comment, or I can make a comment.
And Wash, I think it's worth noting that the tutorial will walk you through your instance with your data, as opposed to taking you to some sort of test environment where you and your staff can actually practice using real information without creating an actual invoice.
Yep, that's right. Thanks for pointing that out, Torrin. So your destination for a quick will always default to the current store that you're in. And if you needed to have this sent to a different store, or if the customer was eligible for delivery, then you could choose delivery as a destination for this order. Here again, showing the departments for you to choose, and you can choose, let's choose household, and you can see that this is based on my promise date for this price list. If I wanted this to be a standard order, you would take the predefined due date based on your promise list. If I needed to create, if I have invoice modes and I wanted to create a same day rush or a rush next day, then that invoice mode will just lock the date of when that order is to be ready. And on here, we're just selecting the quantity of items that the customer is leaving us. Let's say they left us 10 items. And on the right-hand side that's been showing throughout, it shows the customer's preferences, and then now it shows what department this quick was created and when it's due, and that we made some comments on this item. If there have been any coupons, it would show here. If they would take in there, it would show a few other things along the way there with coupons and pictures and things like that. On the invoice, as you can see, just sort of describing what I described. And then on the tutorial, we don't actually want the end user to create a quick in this process. We just want to get them used to what the correct process should be. So I'm going to cancel this quick. All right, so let's go now. One of the other things that I want to point out today is when I'm going to create a detail for a customer. And this customer has a number of quicks to choose from. So I'll just grab this quick, the top quick. That's really not, I tell you what, I don't even like that. I'm going to start over because that is not a good. Let's go to a different. Find a customer that doesn't have a quick created. Let's say that you're an operation and you don't use quicks. We think it's a best practice, but if you're an operation that doesn't use quicks and you go directly to detail, you'll click on detail. It's going to ask you a couple things. It's going to let you put adjustments, show you if you have any coupons or any comments, and it allows you to set the destination. If you had scanned if this customer had been a delivery customer, the default destination would have been delivery. And it's prompt you for the number of pieces that you're trying to detail. In this case, I'm going to say that I'm going to detail 2 items, and you'll see if I don't detail 2 items, it's going to warn the user that they've done something incorrectly.
Well, and I'll point out just to the left of where your screen is, right now it's telling us that we have detailed 0 of 2 items. So you'll see that progress bar move across as you detail, and that way you have a visual check to verify that you're actually capturing everything.
Yep. So I'm going to scan a barcode, and the first thing you'll see here is the identifier, and you can choose the department, the category, and the item. Much like we do in Spot today, that's just a way of getting you down to the to the actual item itself. You'll also notice on brands, we're showing this customers use brands first. Most frequently used brands first. If I needed to search for a different brand, I just start searching and I can grab that brand. And then patterns. If you don't require a pattern, you can hit the skip bar, or if you do require a pattern, you would use. I want to draw your attention up here. So the next item right now, you can't go to the next item or you can't finish because we've not met the required modifiers that you've set up in your price list. But once I hit a color, now I can go to the next item because I have entered all of the required fields based on your price list. Also want to show you, if you would like to, you can take a picture. It's just opening my webcam, and I can take a picture, and that will save with that item forever.
A good looking pair of pants.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to make a comment, you can simply click across the top wherever you need to go in this. One of the many things that our wonderful beta testers have helped us with to sort of improve the process. What we noticed was everyone has a different price list, and some people require a lot of fields, some people require just a few fields, some people have a lot of extra identification items in their price list. So we wanted to be able to jump around if you needed to, because not everyone would maybe require a bunch of upcharges or adjustments or make comments on it, but they may want to just jump to that field. So on here,
I'm going to point out that, right, that's the power of Spot. It's that ability to customize the experience to your business requirement. And that was one of those paramount initiatives that we wanted to ensure was that you could move very seamlessly from Spot into Connect and have an experience that is easier, but still familiar with what you and your staff need in order to run the business. Wash, I think we lost your audio.
is this any better?
There we go.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened there. So I made a comment on this item, and I'm going to, if I wanted to, I can add an alteration. And on here it asks, do I want to alter and clean or alter only? In this example, I'll do an alter only, and you'll see it only used the alteration price here. I'm going to hit the next item, and this is the screen we're really excited about. This is what the feedback from the field that we got was in Spot, we always had this visual invoice on the left-hand side of the screen that sort of permeates throughout the screen. And we're attempting with this application to make the screen a lot cleaner and only give you the information you need to do your job. And once you detail an item, a lot of people, we found by looking at doing user research, a lot of people like to review the item that they just scanned. And so what we did was we said, we're going to take the entire screen and we're going to show you all the details about the item. and leave your preferences and any memos that this particular customer has exposed on the right-hand side. And so you can just continue to detail items. You could just scan, 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 and sort of skip through the screen if you're a power user. But we know that there are a lot of folks out in the field that may not be a power user and trust that they actually want to see what they did for the customer. A couple of other things here I want to point out. You can actually split orders from here, or you can repeat just by simply toggling this and scanning another heat seal. It will create an identical item to this item.
Just a quick why that would be useful, Wash. How many of us have customers that bring in 15 white Brooks Brothers or Kirkland shirts, right? So instead of having to hit white and Kirkland on every one of them, use repeat, scan each heat seal, and you're done much quicker.
Yep, thanks, Nicole. If you need to change a due date for anything or make the order, a rush order, you can do that. The other thing I want to point out is you can actually hold an order. And if you look up here, it says it's got held to. I actually went ahead before the demo and created some orders because I wanted to show you this. This process. So on here, Denzel Washington, it's showing his coupon that he has on here, and it's asking if I want to resume the order. And I've got 6 of 20 pieces detailed. And so this is where you can just simply go through the screen and look at all the detailed items for this customer, see any pictures that you've taken of the item, or if you needed to, you can go in and edit the item. One of the things, let's say, oh, this thing is not a comforter. It's a blanket. You can see it removed everything about that item. And we're going to go back to the category and back to the item itself. And it's asking you to re-describe this item because we already know there was something wrong with it. That's why we wanted to make a change to the item itself. We're going to hit next, and it says, the definition of the heat seal has changed. Do you want to save that? And it's probably yes. And now you can see it looks different on the screen here. So I'll go ahead and I'll finish out this order. See that I'm getting a piece mismatch warning. If you have settings that require a manager to override this, then it would be prompting that manager for a pin, to enter a pin. Myself, I don't have that, so I'm going to just override this piece mismatch warning today. Obviously, that's not something we encourage you to do. You always want to get your quicks and your details to match up the correct number of pieces. One thing that I also, because we're now moving to a browser-based world, users can accidentally try to close the item. On here, we have a warning that sort of keeps you on the app, and what you see here is a web app that I've launched from a browser. Torrin was showing you how you initially set it up. Eventually, you will have just an icon on your screen, and it will look like you're launching a program, but it's actually launching a web app. So if you're not at your store, you have the permissions, you can log in just through a regular web login, but obviously you will need credentials in order to do that. So from there, I'm going to pass the baton over to Nicole and let her get going for a little bit.
Thank you. I think this is a good place to jump into pickup, sort of the next piece of that order processing. So we've clicked an order, detailed it, it's gone through its cleaning process. Now the clients come back to pick it up. Just like with quick and detail, we start by finding the customer that we are going to be doing the pickup for. So in this case, Wash has looked up Mouse and found Mickey and Minnie. Mickey Mouse has 2 orders to pick up, and you'll see those orders listed in the center of the screen. We do have the location field, so that location field, it will display where those orders were racked, if they were actually racked. For those of you that have storage conveyors, metal Progetti storage conveyors, there will also be a deliver to rail button down here on the bottom right. We do recommend as best practice that you have scan at pickup turned on. This ensures that you are picking up everything for the customer and picking up the right orders for the customer. And that is the case in our demo environment here. So you'll notice that of those 2 orders, One of them, well, one of them said pick up next to it and the other one said must scan. Wash actually just scanned it. So he has scanned both of the orders that are ready for this customer to pick up. If you notice over on the right-hand side, the balance now shows the balance due of both the total for both of those orders. We have your tender types. The standard tenders that you have, the payment types listed in Spot will be available here. Cash, credit card, check, pretty standard. If those of you that use gift cards will work here as well. Before we get into the specifics there, though, I'll point out a few buttons down at the bottom. You've got the clear button. So if you didn't want to actually pick up one of the orders that you scanned, you could clear it. Print pick list will give you a list of all of that customer's orders. So if you have somebody coming in to pick up that has, 10 orders and you can't remember where all of them are, print the pick list. You can take it with you to grab all of those orders off the conveyors. And then the reprint button is important for those of us that use the scan at pickup because sometimes a barcode is damaged and you can't scan it. So that will allow you to reprint the order to pick that up. Now, credit card, we've got a really neat new feature here. So if you click to credit card, the default is you're just going to process the card at terminal, but there's a new button down below to add a card on file. If you do that here at the pickup screen, you actually can add that card on file to the customer's record. It will then activate the terminal just like it does now in Spot. You can insert that card or type that card number in there to put that card on file for your customer. Otherwise, the credit card processing works just the same as it does in Spot. So we'll go ahead and cancel this. If you were paying by cash, you could click the cash button and enter how much they were giving you and get your change amount as well. So let's go ahead and pick up these orders with cash. Hit the finish button and then how would you like your receipt? And this is the same as Wash showed when we were doing the quick. You have the option to send a receipt via email, SMS, no receipt or printed. And then this does tell you what is a change. So we've got $1.05 going back to Mickey Mouse. 1, 1, and 1 nickel for those that don't know how to count change. It can be helpful. If we jump back into the pickup screen, Wash, you want to go into another customer? Or even, we don't even need to go to pickup. Let's go review the customer record. So up on the right-hand side, you can always click that customer's name to jump into the customer record. And we have really sort of revamped the way the customer record works. In Spot today, there's a ton of information in the customer record, and sometimes it doesn't quite make sense where to go to look for something. So we have redesigned this so that it is an easier to use, cleaner sort of interface when it comes to customer information. And there's some tabs across the top. So you'll see the details tab, then we have history, CRM, statistics, delivery, coupons. This details tab, if we want to start there. This is basically where we would come to change anything on a customer record. So any field in Spot that you would go in and change, an address, a phone number, a customer's discount group, all of that is going to be in the details tab, organized on those subheadings that you'll see below. If we wanted to add an email or a phone like Wash did here, he can go add an email address. We have the new addition of a description field as well for both phone numbers and email addresses. So if you wanted to say this is a work phone or a child's name, one of the kids' phones, a housekeeper, you can put whose phone number that is along with the phone information. Once you've got that saved, just click add. So the general tab underneath details is where we're going to find that basic customer information, name, address, phone number, preferences. If we move across the top there, all based on your current Spot settings, whatever preferences that you have set up will be listed here. If you have a default set for a preference, that default will come over. Otherwise, it'll say not specified, and you just choose if you need to populate it. If we come to pricing, that's where you'll find your custom price table. If this customer gets a specific price table, if they're tax exempt, that would be on the pricing page, as well as your discount group would be on the pricing page as well. So if you were going to assign a discount group, a senior discount, military discount, employee, those are all common examples of a discount group. Payments is where we're going to find our cards on file. So you can add a card on file at pickup. You can also add one directly from the customer record by clicking the add button. Subscription information, notifications, and the notifications we have also retooled the way that these are displayed. Currently in Spot, this is on the Reminders tab, that far right side where you see all those green boxes. Here, we have organized them in 3 different areas. Campaigns is the first one that you'll see there on the top leftish. That is your marketing type emails and text messages. You can enable or disable all of them at once by using that toggle switch, or you can do one by one for the individual types. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a second section, which is going to be our route messaging. That's where you'll see your route delivered notifications, route reminder messages. Those will live in the route section. And then the right-hand side of the notifications is our operational messaging. That is orders ready, late for pickup, the types of things that are more notifications as opposed to marketing type messages. And each of those can be shut on or turned on or off by a group or individual message. If we move on to memos, that is what we would call a reminder in Spot. A memo is that pop-up message that you can create on a customer account. Generally, these are things like specific instructions for certain garment types. You can create a subject. Press lapels. Press lapels down is the subject, whatever you want your message to be. And then where do you want this message to either show or print? And those are the options down at the bottom there. You've got a drop down for when to show it, and then some on and off switches for do you want this to print on an invoice, a statement, or a bag tag. Again, very similar to what we have in Spot, just a cleaner way to get to it. We'll go ahead and add that, and now that customer has a memo. This is also where we would come to delete a memo. So if you wanted to delete one, you could click the trash can, it would get rid of it, and that would be gone. And then the AR button, the last one in the details tab here, is where you would come to set up an AR account. So if you were going to set up a customer as an AR customer, you come here, set up their billing group, etc., and all of that. Hopefully, not too much AR left. Let's get credit cards on file for everything. If we move over to history, now we're getting into more the informational part of the customer record. This is where we would see the customer's history for their orders. This is all the orders for that customer. Items, all of the individual heat seals that have been used along with their descriptions. And over on the right-hand side, when you click one, you'll see the details of that particular item. AR payments and AR statements. The CRM is going to be the entries where the customer gets emails, text messages, those informational things that come directly from Spot will be captured in the CRM. You can also create or view manual contacts that were made with the customer on the contacts tab. And then the change log just shows changes to that customer record. What was changed, who did it, and when it happened. All right, if we move over to statistics, we have statistics currently in Spot. It's just displayed in a prettier way here. So we've got a nice little pie chart showing you what percentage of the customer sales come from each of your service types. So this customer is about 83% dry cleaning over the last month. Wash is going to switch it up there at the top right, where you can go and view different time periods. So last 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, or 1 month. And then there's some information below it too with some specifics on pieces, dollars, etc. If we move over to the delivery tab, that is where you will see the delivery information for this customer. So what route they belong on, what stop. And then coupons is where you will see the redeemed or rewarded coupons for that particular customer. Anybody who uses like on the Spot marketing, you may have rewards that have been issued to the customer but not used yet. Those would show here. So again, just a different, cleaner, maybe better organized way of viewing the customer record here in Connect. You also can, if Wash is pointing out here, going to messages. You can create a message to the customer from here. All of your available templates based on either email or SMS will be displayed on the left-hand side. If you wanted to type a manual message, you can also do that by just typing in the box there. When you're all done, you click the send button and you can communicate with the client right there from their customer record.
Nicole, I was just going to show, yeah, the ability to take a picture of an item and email it to a customer.
Right? How valuable is that? You see damage at drop off and you want to send a message to the customer with a picture attached, you can do that right from here. All right, so basic overview of the customer record. We could spend a lot more time on it, but let's jump back over to search. And one of the things I'd like to show you is the dashboard. So the dashboard is our alerts that you see in Spot. So all of the same alerts that you have on this particular station will be brought over. You can see they are color coded. You've got the red ones, orders not detailed. This is a test system, so of course we have a lot of that. And all of those are clickable just like they are in Spot, with the colors telling you, hey, this one is bad if it's red, something you want to take a look at. We also have here your recent activity screen. This is going to show you those last orders that were created, either dropped off or picked up. And you can scroll through that, as well as by selecting a specific order, there's some actions over on the right-hand side that you can take. And then one other thing that we've moved to the dashboard is the production commitment. So that grid that you see at the bottom of the Spot homepage currently, that production commitment lives here in Connect. Similar information separated by your production sponsors. How many pieces are still remaining for that particular day are shown here on the dashboard production commitment. All right. I think we're at a point where we can toss it back to Torrens for some additional information, unless any of my colleagues want to add something I might have missed.
Actually, I want to add something here. Wash, do you have Spot up on this?
Yep, sure do. Hold on one second.
One of the things I want to point out here is that we've been transacting business in Connect. And you'll notice that while we've been doing that, all of that information's been showing up here in Spot. Remember that these two systems can literally work side by side on the same machine. And so, whatever you do in Spot will show up in Connect, and whatever you do in Connect will show up in Spot. And so, again, the idea being that you can move back and forth to your level of comfort between the two systems. So Wash is just going to create a quick, and we'll do a refresh, and there it is. So just wanted to point that out and actually show that in process.
Yeah, thanks, Tor, and I forgot to mention that earlier.
Well, so let's go ahead and get to probably the most important part of this whole presentation, which is how do I get started? Know that while we've worked to beta test the Connect product with several different companies, we understand that there may be some ways in which we just haven't seen something happen before, or a use case that may be new to us, and we want to ensure that as we roll out Connect, that everyone who's using it is getting the best experience possible. And so as a result, early on in this process, our team's going to remain actively involved to get everything ready for you and to get everything ready for your environment. We'll also be there to help get the app installed on your computer. Even though that this is a website, it is possible to install it as an application on the desktop, which is what we recommend. And we just want to make sure that we get everything working properly for you. So step one is to send us an email at connectme@spotpos.com, and that will start the onboarding process. Know that we will be throttling new installations to ensure a smooth experience. And what this means is that we'll be scheduling the installs so that we can be there to personally help and answer your questions. Second step is that we'll be getting everything ready on the back end for you. There are some configuration changes we have to make and things that we'll need to do to extend your environment for Connect. But know that none of this interrupts Spot or otherwise affects your ability to use it at any point in time. We just want to go through the process of verifying everything on our side and that everything is ready for you to use and in fact test all of your settings against your database in Connect. Third step is that we'll then reach out to you to schedule a convenient time to get your systems ready. This is going to include installing the application and going over your username and password, assigning it to the proper workstation, and making sure that you can log on to your system. It's important that that Connect, again, a best practice is that you install Connect on the same computer that you're using Spot on, which is going to allow you and your staff to just go back and forth between the two applications as needed. And finally, please, please, please use the feedback button in Connect. We appreciate the input, and we expect that there will be comments and an issue or two that you may encounter that we just simply haven't seen before. And it's nice to know that if you do, you can always just fall back to Spot and keep right on going. I'd also add that we're still doing a lot of work on Connect, and you should expect to see updates almost every week. All the more reason why to keep an eye on the what's new information that comes on the screen when you log in for the first time. So, as I said at the beginning of this day, this is a very big day for Spot. Connect is launched to the industry, and we hope that all of you are as excited as we are about it. We appreciate your time, and we sincerely look forward to working with you to roll this out. So with that, Spencer, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you, Torin, and thank you to all of our presenters. I magically managed to avoid actually being a presenter today, and having the fine privilege of moderating and enjoying the content that has been provided. I do want to thank all of you for joining us today. If you have questions about Connect, whether you're curious about how it will interact with something, or just any general questions about Connect itself, feel free to email us at info@spotpos.com. We do ask that the Connect Me at spotpos.com be used for actual onboarding. So any questions, go ahead and use info@spotpos.com. That would be preferred. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, we will be compiling a frequently asked questions and making that available, I believe, on our website, and I imagine that will also be sent in an email at some point. Again, keep an eye if you want to share this webinar with your staff. Keep an eye on our YouTube page. That's at youtube.com/spot-POS media. And I imagine that we will have this webinar posted there probably within the next hour or so. Otherwise, I cannot thank you all for coming today, and I just cannot thank you enough. This is a very big day for Spot, and on behalf of us here at Spot, we thank you for your business and wish you a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you all.